Well, here it is. January 1st, 2025. It'll take me about 6 months before when I write down the date that I don't write 2024. I just don't catch on very quick. So, what I think I want to talk about today is the idea of New Year's resolutions, which is just another idea that somebody thought up that sets everybody up for failure. I think in life, if we want to do something or have something or work towards something, that we should just do it no matter what, rather than someone that says, okay, on January 1st, you should make up a New Year's resolution. Well, first off, I've tried to do those when I was younger, and it wasn't even a half-hearted thing. It was a one-day effort. Like, I won't go out in the rain. If it was raining outside, that would last a day. I'd go outside anyway. Or, when I was younger, I'll try to go to church more. Well, shit, I didn't want to go to church. Someone told me that that's what I was going to have to do to attain everlasting life. Now, when you're young, everlasting life might seem like a good idea, but when you're my age, everlasting life is just kind of torturous to think about. I'm 74 now, and riddled with arthritis. And I used to be real active, and I got broke a couple times, or a few times, or a lot of times. And everywhere that I broke my body, I have developed arthritis. So I broke my back, I broke my neck. They weren't broke. They were a vertebrae that, cracked or fractured. But it was bad enough where, I have arthritis in those spots now. Broke my knee, arthritis. Broke my hands, arthritis. So, them selling me, whoever them are, like the medical doctors and stuff like that, trying to sell me on the idea of a very long life. We have to do things so you have a very long life. Give me a break. Now, the problems I have with my back, which I've talked to doctors about for about 5 years, and finally one of them, you get this, with Medicare you have to have these primary care guys. So you have to talk to him, then he has to refer you to somebody, and then they do their little thing, then they refer you to somebody else, and then they refer you for... The plan was a real back doctor looked at me, said I had problems, and looked at the x-rays, didn't tell me what he found, but previous doctors had told me about how screwed up my back is. So this guy says, well, here's the plan. Do 6 physical therapy sessions, and then we'll send you in for an MRI. So I did. First of all, it took a month to get, 1 or 2 months to get into a physical therapist at the hospital. And then the first session, they just kind of interview you. Write this stuff down, punch it into the computer, and you have another session in a week or 2 weeks. And so I went to the next session, and then she says, "How are you?" I said, "I'm the same," because, pretty much the first session that we did, you gave me one little exercise, and I didn't think that would be some kind of miracle exercise and fix me. And I did it about half the amount of time that you wanted me to. But so then she makes another session, or makes another appointment, and I go in for that one, and she says, "How are you?" And I said, the same. And I always thought they manipulated you. Well, they kind of do manipulate you, but it's a mind fuck rather than messing with your structure or your muscles or anything like that. So she prints out a couple more exercises and sends me away and schedules me for the next week. And so I do those. And I did them pretty much religiously, which for people who aren't religious means that I did them when I was supposed to do them. Kind of like when you're told to go to church and you go to church, that's doing things religiously, I guess. Maybe it's a little different than that. But so after the third one, no difference. So I quit. And then I went and saw my regular doctor for when you're old, you go in for these wellness checkups, and they ask you a bunch of questions. And I find out that they log all this stuff after you leave, so there's a record of it. And there's a lot of things I don't want to tell my doctor. I want a record of it. So I talked to him. I told him I wasn't doing that anymore. Wasn't going to the physical therapist anymore. And he says, "Well, you really have to. It's not that big a deal. That you only have 3 more sessions, and then you can have your MRI." And I said, "I just don't care for it." And he says, "It'll extend your life." Yeah, probably. And which actually, one of my beliefs is that one of the second or third largest cause of death is medical treatment. So, I know that he's living in a different world than me. Either I'm delusional or he's delusional. And so he talks to me about, well, don't you want to be around as long as you can for your daughter and your granddaughter? And I said, so I can lose all my money and burden them with worrying about me and maybe having to support me. And I don't think that is something that I really care to do. These people that live to be really old, they're fucking miserable. So I quit going to all the physical therapy stuff, and I'm not going to do the MRI. I've talked to people about back surgery, and at least half of the back surgeries that I've talked to people about, the people are worse after the back surgery. So what they've done is in all aspects of our life, they've kind of got us inside these illusions that this medical care will do good. It might prolong your life. You might be miserable for longer, or you might be able to lay in a hospital bed or in a old folks home, laying on your back with your nose looking up at the sky. Or noses don't look, your nose pointed up at the sky. And just prolong your life, and you're fucking miserable. So I think if you haven't done it when you're younger, you're not going to do it when you're older. You know, maybe I'd like to climb Mount Rainier again. Although the first time I climbed it, I only got to this place called Camp Muir and got altitude sickness. So I didn't go to the top, and I was supposed to be the best man for one of my friends. I won't get into that, but it was just another failure of mine. That it turned out better that I didn't go to the top. This coffee cup says Rebel, which is kind of my way of being in life. What was I talking about? So, this doctor tries to throw that guilt shit at me. You know, you should try to stay around as long as possible for your daughter and granddaughter. I'm not buying it. If I don't have my back worked on, I've never really heard of anybody dying from back problems. You know, I get to experience life every day to the fullest extent that the pain in my body will let me. Which means I just sit around and make these videos and stuff and degenerate, or whatever you would call it. But I did order a stationary bicycle to kind of make it look like I'm trying to do the exercises and satisfy the people, neighbors and all that are, you know, like there's a yoga guru and, you know, people that actually care for me or present that they care for me. The way they could show they care for me is bring me more cookies, and then we'll talk about how much you care. So my idea is that I'm going to get this stationary bicycle, and that just means that the timeline that I'm on in life, maybe I can, the exercise will prolong that a little bit, but all the cookies that I'm going to eat, it's going to bring it back to the original timeline, but I'll be happier. I won't be laying in a bed, not able to walk. I'll be able to do this little bicycle thing. That'll cure everything, and just eat myself into oblivion, eating cookies and sweets and candy and cake, and that's really what life is about. It's about having things in life that you really enjoy. I have my daughter, my granddaughter, I have my wife. I have no friends, not because people don't want to be around me. I just don't allow it. I don't need it, so I don't have it. I have my little dogs and my little puppies, and they're endless joy. And the little puppies, actually in general dogs of the smaller stature, are what really bring me joy in life. And if I was gonna think about trying to live longer than the timeline I'm on, it would only be so I would outlive my little dogs. And these little dogs are only about 1.25 years old. Fuck, I'm in for a painful life for quite a while, because I think these little dogs last to be about 14 generally, except for the one that was named Yimmy. I'd tell you about the names, but since she eats rocks, now we call her Tank, because she's a little dog that weighs 16 pounds, because I think she's got a belly full of rocks. And the other one, who's much smaller, but she's just a jumper. And then I have Tujo, who's probably about 10 or 11 now. So she's slowing down a lot. So I guess you come to a point where I came to a point after my daughter died that everybody thought, because I'm a dog guy, that I needed a puppy. So after about 6-8 months after my daughter died, I told Debbie, maybe I'm ready for a puppy. So as circumstances continued on, there were 2 of these little puppies, cuter than shit. They're half Shih Tzu and half something else. I think one is half Shih Tzu and half rock. Because I guess there might be such a thing as a rock hound, but her belly's just got to be full of rocks because she's really heavy. And did you hear the one? So I probably made a mistake being selfish. I finally said, okay, I think I'm ready for a puppy. And my daughter went to go look at this puppy that my wife found online, 100 miles away. They sent us a video of this little dog and her sister, and they at that time they were just little things. They could sleep in my slipper. Well, 1 in each slipper, not 2 in one slipper. I don't know, if you're younger, you can't probably do that math anymore because they don't teach that in school. So I have these 2 little puppies, and I don't want to pass before them. That means I have set myself up to live in pain for another 14 years. Evidently, I didn't do the math when I said I'll have 2 new little puppies. But that's okay, because nature will take its course no matter what. I just don't want to grow to be really a burden on anybody and grow to be really old. And I can see now at my age where you become, not yet, but old people become worthless. I have people around in my wife's family that have dementia, and I've talked to a couple people that had dementia, and they don't even know where they are. What's the point in striving to live longer than your memories and knowing where you are? And this dementia deal is probably from our diets. I don't know. We eat poison. They poison us. They manipulate us, and they have got society so screwed up that there's a whole bunch of theys that in different areas are screwing with us. And maybe my resolution this year is to take on some of these people that are screwing with us and poisoning us and poisoning our kids' brains. That I know there's a young man in the neighborhood that he just transitioned to be a girl rather than, I don't blame the parenting, but when people grow up and they can't even deal with adversity, and so they run away from it, and like this guy becomes a girl, or the kid across the lake who shot his whole family, or in school where they don't teach them anything of any value, and we of my generation and the generation below that have let all this woke crap take over. And what we're breeding is a bunch of mentally ill life forms that aren't going to survive. That's enough of that. So, it's January 1st, 2025. Happy New Year!